Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. I actually did not expect to be doing this today, but I kind of just did it out of a whim, or I'm going to be doing it because I just can't wait. So today, as you can see, I got some nice little exhaust headers. They're just cheap, kind of eBay style exhaust headers, and apparently they sound good, so it's going to be sweet. Not sure if they're going to actually add any horsepower, but I'm also going to be doing a cat delete with just a straight pipe welded in. And then my stock muffler is going to stay for now. It is kind of getting rotten, so I do need to replace it, but I just don't have another muffler to put on it right now. So for now, we're just going to throw in the headers. We're going to do the cat delete, and then all the rest of the piping is going to be the stock piping. It's a pretty decent exhaust already for a stock car. Just got to delete those couple things that kind of slow the exhaust down. So let's get started. So as you can see, I have the car jacked up off the ground. My new exhaust will come down and end around this area. So basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to first remove the whole exhaust, but the way it's going to look is this is going to be chopped off. This is going to stay chopped here. And then these are the catalytic converters and these are resonators. Now I'm kind of don't know if I want to just delete the cat and keep this or just delete the whole thing, but you know, I'll probably end up just deleting the whole thing. So straight pipe from here to here, keeping this portion all the way back. That's my stock muffler. It is rotting out and I do need to replace it, but I just don't have one right now, so we're gonna do what we can for now and see how it sounds with the stock muffler, and then we'll get that replaced in a couple weeks or something like that. So the first thing I need to do, remove this guy, remove my skid plate there, and then I'm gonna unbolt the down pipe, get this whole exhaust off. After I get the whole exhaust piece out of the car, I'm gonna move along and undo and get these exhaust manifolds off. So I'm gonna start ripping stuff off the bottom of the car and get this exhaust off. Oh, that hurts so much. Just got domed by my skid plate. Jeez. That felt good. Now that we got those couple things out of the way, I'm just gonna undo these 6 bolts. 1, 2, and 3. And then this guy up here, same thing. 1, 2, 3. And that'll separate the exhaust manifolds from the exhaust. Alright, so those are disconnected now. They are, what are they? They're 16 mil nuts on those 6 bolts there. Exhaust is pretty much hanging down. I think there's a hanger somewhere around here. Yeah, there's a couple hangers I gotta take off. As you can see, this is not good. Alright, so I managed to pull this thing out. What I gotta do, this hanger over here is cracked somewhere on the back. I gotta fix that. I'm really torn because this thing is definitely full of rust and stuff, and it's just like rattling around. So I know if I chop this off, my car is gonna be super loud. So that, I'm not sure if I want to do that. And also, I think I want to keep these guys just to keep it not super loud. Definitely getting rid of these cats and selling them to the wrecker probably. Yeah, so I guess first things first is I'm gonna chop these cats out and then weld in some straight pipes, and we'll go from there. Got my grinder set up with the cutting disc there. I think my plan is I'm just gonna chop one cat out, measure and cut my new pipe, kind of get it welded in, and then do the other one so it kind of keeps the whole thing stock straight as it is. If I cut them both out and I start welding, I might have it twisted, so this way I'm gonna make sure that it stays all in line. Alright, so I've got that bracket all fixed up. I have cleaned up and, you know, got down to the bare metal on both ends of these tubes. Now it's time. This is a 1 7/8. I can't even remember if it's inside or outside diameter. Anyways, 1 7/8 exhaust piping. I think it's inside diameter. It basically is exact same size as this, so it's going to be butt up against and welded. So now I'm just going to measure from here to here, cut a piece out of this, and weld it straight in. I'm gonna get this partially welded up, and then I'm gonna cut this one off, finish welding this one, and then I can weld this guy with a nice pipe. 17 1/4 it looks like. I got this pipe sitting the best I can right now. A little bit of a gap over here, but I'll just fill that in with the big glob of weld. And let's weld this thing up. So I got the one pipe welded in, and yes, I know they're super terrible welds, but feel free to tell me how bad my welds are in the comments. This one's even worse. So I'm gonna go ahead and chop this cat out and weld. I didn't get a spot right in there, and I can't see that one, so gonna finish welding this, and then I'll put the new pipe in this side. Alright guys, my test pipes are welded in, cats are deleted over there. And for safe measure, I went ahead and threw some of this muffler cement around my welds just to make sure I didn't have any pinhole leaks, and then I went and put some high heat temp over everything around the weld area just to protect it from rusting out. So, but I only had red, so that's what I'm using what I have. So there you go, cheap, basically free. I just had these pipes lying around, I had the muffler cement and the paint, and I got a welder obviously, but there you go, cheap, easy, free, whatever you want to call it. Cat delete. Now it's time to unbolt my headers and then bolt my new headers in. I think there's 24, if I remember correctly, head studs there for the headers. Gotta get all those undone. And these guys are my new headers. So stoked those. They came with sleeves to clamp to the exhaust, and they came with new gaskets. Alright, so I finally got my old manifolds off. I went in there and scraped the gasket surface on my head there to make sure it's all nice and smooth for the new gaskets. These are the new gaskets. I checked to see if I needed to gasket match the new headers, and they don't need to be gasket matched because these gaskets are matched already. Now what I'm going to do with these, don't be surprised if 90% of your exhaust header studs come out with your nuts. As long as a couple stay in there so that you can get your gaskets on, or else it'll be really difficult to do that. Anyways, I'm going to put a little bit of gasket maker in a couple spots on here just to hold it onto the head so that I don't have to mess around. I'm trying to hold the gasket on while I slide the headers on. So that's what I'm going to do now, is I'm just going to put a dot there, 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 and there on both these gaskets, stick them to the head, and then I'm going to go ahead and install the rear header from underneath, get a bolt or two in it, and then I think I'm going to be able to put the front header from the top and slide it under. So let's try that out. Oh, whoa, alright, that was pretty tricky to get those manifolds in. They're both in, they're kind of just hanging on to the head by a couple bolts, but wow, they look so much better. So this one you definitely have to put on first. You have to feed it up from underneath. There was a problem, I had two studs at the back there, and this thing wouldn't go on with those studs in. So what I had to do was, I had to put two nuts on, tighten them together, and then I was able to unscrew the studs. So I had to get those two studs out in order for this to slip on. So these are both, they're loose right now, but this is on. And then I'm gonna go ahead and tighten the rear one because it's hard to get at, and I need to be able to move this front one around to tighten it. And then I'll tighten the front one, and then the headers will be all installed and looking nice and shiny and fancy. And then we'll go ahead and put this guy back in the car and see how it sounds. Alright guys, so I finally got these manifolds installed on the car, and wow, that was so painfully terrible. I don't know if it's worth it to buy these and put these on, because that was terrible to put on. Like, I had the worst time of my life working on this car. Putting those headers on, it sucked. They did not think of installing them when the engine's in the car, obviously, because I've done a set of these headers on an engine out of the car, no problem, no big deal. But doing them in the car, it's like you have to use so many different tools. And I took the old ones off with just a 11 mil on a ratchet with a little extension, boom boom, done. But this, putting them on, I don't even know how long it took me, like 2.5 hours, and it sucked. So I got them on. You know, they're on there. I'm really hoping their gaskets are half decent and don't leak. I still have to put this in, but I think that's all I'm gonna do for tonight, because I guess you could say I'm exhausted. Yeah, not really that funny, because I am exhausted from doing this, and I gotta work tomorrow and it's getting late, so I am definitely gonna call it a night and get back at this tomorrow after work, get that exhaust in, and see how it sounds with the new parts. But so yeah, we'll see you tomorrow and we'll get this thing finished up. Alright everybody. Alright, so I am back. It's the next day after work, and I need to go ahead and throw this under there, kind of sit it where it needs to sit, and then I'm gonna have to cut it, I don't know, somewhere around there, and then it should slide on, put some of those clamps on, and it'll be good to go. Alright, so what I'm doing right now is I've got a jack stand and then my jack over there holding the muffler up, and I'm just going to be kind of eyeballing generally where I need to cut this off, somewhere around there. And I'm going to give that a quick zip on both these tubes, and then I'll be able to slide it onto these pipes, hang the rest of the exhaust. These came with some clamps. These this pipe should slide over this exhaust, and this pipe should slide over this exhaust. So we'll see how that turns out. We'll get this all buttoned up, and then we'll be able to try it out and see how it sounds. Alright, so as you can see, I got my marks here. The other exhaust pipe is offset a bit, so I have to cut this one up here, this one down here. So I'm going to take my zip disc, give these a chop so they're nice and clean, probably file out the inside so they're very nice and smooth, and then we'll go ahead and slip her on there. I got my pieces cut. I actually thought I turned the camera on, but I did not, so sorry you didn't get to see me cut some more metal. So these two clamps actually came with the exhaust header kit. So I went ahead, slid these guys on, so now I can go ahead and slide this up and hopefully get it connected to the headers, and then we'll go from there. Alright guys, so it actually didn't work out at all what I thought it was going to. I thought these were actually supposed to slip over and the headers were supposed to go in and then clamp it, but it turns out these are actually the same size and they just butt up, and then you put the long clamp over it, and that's how it works. So that being said, I have to compensate for me not sliding these over, and I have to cut these down a little shorter, and then I'll be able to butt them up, slide those on, clamp them up, get the rest of the exhaust hung up, and then we'll finally be able to hear it go brap. Alright guys, finally the thing is bolted up, it's in there. I have not started it yet, but I can't wait to start it because I want to see what it sounds like, and I really hope it doesn't leak at all, because then I have to go back to work and fix those leaks. So let's pray that it does not leak exhaust out of anywhere, just out the tailpipe and the holes in my muffler. That's fine, I know about those, so let's start it up. Unfortunately, those two clamps are leaking a little bit, but that's because they're just terrible clamps. There's some better quality clamps I'm going to be putting on, and I definitely need to change this muffler because it sounds alright. It sounds a little better than it did before, but it's still a little bit raspy, and that's probably due to the huge rust hole in my muffler. So I will definitely be getting that changed eventually here, but for now the thing is bolted up. It's sturdy under there. It's not going to fall off. Doesn't sound like my headers are leaking at the head, which is good, really good, because I don't want to deal with that. And like I said, I just need to get some new clamps and a muffler, and this thing will sound pretty decent. And it was a little bit smoky at startup because the brand new headers are just burning off whatever the hell they put on there, and they're starting to change color to like a gold, and I'm sure when I'm drifting at the track they'll get hot enough and they'll turn like a blue or a purple color, which would be really cool. So looks like that'll be it for today's video. Got the exhaust on the E36. I know it's really kind of a terrible exhaust, but you know, if there's any exhaust companies watching this out there, you know, just feel free to send me one and I'll put it on my car. So that's the way it goes. I'm working with what I got, right? So thank you guys for watching my videos. Please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and we'll catch you guys on the next video.